Hawthorn guided me. She took me under her wing. She really wanted me to meet her kin.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. First up is the Herbs with Rosalee Student Spotlight. Each week we take a moment to celebrate one of our amazing students and their inspiring contributions to our herbal community. This week we're shining our spotlight on Alexandra Hunger-Buehler in New York. She was a student in our 2024 Rooted Medicine Circle, and for her capstone project, Alexandra created this stunning zine highlighting individuals engaged in environmental stewardship and earth healing. Through interviews and photography, she captured the wisdom, passion, and dedication of those working to restore our connection with the natural world. One of the most powerful takeaways from her project is the reminder that change happens in community, that plants, people, and ecosystems thrive when we recognize our interdependence. Alexandra's work is a beautiful reflection of Rooted Medicine Circle's core ideals, weaving together awareness, reciprocity, and care for both the earth and each other. Well done, Alexandra. In appreciation for her contributions, Mountain Rose Herbs is sending her a $50 gift certificate to stock up on their incredible selection of sustainably sourced herbal supplies. Mountain Rose Herbs is my go-to for high-quality organic spices, herbal remedies, and even hard-to-find botanicals. They ship all over the U.S. and have a massive selection of products to fuel your herbal adventures. Thank you to Mountain Rose Herbs for supporting our amazing students. And if you'd like to explore Mountain Rose Herbs' offerings and support this show, you can find the special link in the show notes. If you're tuning in to this episode in order to get a long list of herbal facts, well, this episode might surprise you. EagleSong doesn't just talk about hawthorn, she lives through this sacred tree. Through stories and reflections, she invites us to experience what it truly means to be an herbalist, showing up year after year, decade after decade, listening to the plants, making medicine, and paying close attention to the world around us. EagleSong doesn't claim to be an expert. She simply offers her interpretation of hawthorn. As she says, she speaks the language of hawthorn. Ultimately, for the plant-centered herbalist, this kind of embodied wisdom is far more expansive than any simple list of facts. For those of you who don't already know her, EagleSong dances her mischief in the hedge, that luminous place between tended and wild. A lifelong gardener, she has designed, managed, and tended high-visibility kitchen gardens and farms, commercial gardens, herb gardens and nurseries, and is trained in healing and therapeutic garden design. Often called a hawthorn whisperer, she has been researching hawthorns for over 30 years and has traveled to 6 countries pursuing an understanding of what they are good for. EagleSong is known for her wit and kitchen table wisdom and her incessant need to go outside and play. Today she enjoys teaching herbs from the ground up wherever she is called. EagleSong, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Rosalee.
Absolutely. Well, EagleSong, you're kind of like this, I don't know if the right word, figurehead. You wouldn't like that word. You're like just this, you're this presence of an herbalist, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. So many people I know personally studied with you. And so in some ways, because I have known your name, I mean, you're probably one of the first herbalists I've ever heard about because I lived with John and Kimberly Gallagher. And so I feel like I know you, but when I was thinking about, having you on the show, I was like, wow, actually, like you're this presence and this name, but like I've never heard your story. I don't know where it began. So I'm really excited to hear all about your journey and, and what's brought you onto the plants or the plant path all these years.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, gosh, I think it starts before we're born. And some people are just called to plants. It's just a natural thing. Most of the people I know who are gardeners and herbalists really couldn't imagine themselves doing anything else. And so I would fall into that group.
Hmm.
And I come from a family of farmers and gardeners and small business people. And, it's more, I probably might be the end of a North American villager.
Hmm.
Because when I grew up, people knew each other in my town, and we just had a commonness about us that was familiar, and I really liked it. And things have changed quite a bit since then. But I was born into a family. My oldest brother had polio, so I arrived into the world in a pandemic, if you will. And so I was the third of four children. So my mom was very busy. And of course, at that time, dads worked away. And so I can remember my mom, she yelled a lot of loud noise at our house. And one of her things that she would do, what she would say is she would look at me and she'd throw her hands up in the air and she would yell, "Go outside and play," at about 10 decibels. And it was like such a great invitation. Say, yes, a directive I can live with for the rest of my life. And so, but I also, in retrospect, at the time as a child, you don't know. It's the only world you know, whatever's going on. And I spent a lot of time at Children's Orthopedic Hospital in Seattle because my brother was getting all kinds of treatment. And it was an incredibly boring place to have to sit in the hall and wait because there was no place for the children to, the siblings to be cared for. Now that's all different. And so, in fact, one of the big differences is there's really nice gardens there for families and people. It is super, to me, a positive step in the right direction to create an environment that is conducive to the well-being of people who are going through such challenges in their lives. Yeah. And so we did a lot of camping, and my folks really love the outdoors as well. And so they took us out to be in nature. And we were, I was happy there. I loved being in nature and wandering off by myself. I was never afraid of being in the woods or in nature, and spent a lot of my youth fishing on a creek that's now like the middle of a big development, and swimming in the lake and floating on logs. And I think of, when I was 12, I could ride my bike to the lake, which was 5 or 6 miles away. And we would do all kinds of stupid stuff, like go out on logs, and the logs would roll over, and we'd never got hurt, and we never had to. All we had to do was be home for dinner. And there were no cell phones, of course. That's the nice thing. And so essentially, I started out really. Nature was my other mother, and I really appreciate that. And so, school was the same for me as probably most people. I didn't care for it much. It was definitely, I was going this way and school was going that way. And so we never got on. But I was a good enough student that I could get my way through it. I was a quick study, so I didn't have to really apply myself too much, which is a problem. I wished I'd had more challenges when I was younger, but I made up my challenges so I could get the kind of resistance and pushback I needed to grow. And so just, I don't know, I think I was just barely out of high school. I hitchhiked the whole Western United States with a couple of my friends, and we got to see the world that way. And then I had this habit of getting up and walking away from school. And they called me in and said, if you miss one more day, you'll have to be here all next year.
Oh.
And so that was a good enough challenge to not get having to come back. So I really buckled down and did my due diligence and stayed. And I had great grades. So it was easy. I went to college, which is incredibly boring after you've hitchhiked around the United States.
Mm.
It's just like doesn't hold a candle to real life.
Mm-hmm.
But I had gone out to Cape Alava, which is the westernmost point of the contiguous United States. When I was in high school, one of our teachers took us out as a field trip, and we did a camping trip, and I totally fell in love with that point of place on the earth. And I'm really earth-centered. And so I I really connect with places, and people in places is really important to me. And so there was a village at that point, because it stuck out in the ocean so far. The whales, the migrating whales, would come closest to land at that point. And so the Makah people had a fishing or a whaling village there. And when I was in college, I went to a school, Fairhaven, where you could make up your own program. And I was really good at that. People would come and ask me to make a program up for them because they couldn't figure out what to do. And I always based it on, well, what do you like to do? And this is a place where you can do whatever you want to do. So let's write up a program that works for you. Well, the program that worked for me was go to the ocean for the spring trimester and camp out and live there. And it's kind of the my side of the mountain thing. And so I did it with a friend from school. We both went. And we were there 3 months camping. And it turned out that the place that we were closest to, our camp was closest to, was there was an old longhouse had been covered by mud. Hundreds of years ago, it had been wiped out. And so the posts were sticking out into the ocean. You've disappeared, Rosalee. And so the posts are sticking out into the ocean, and we could see the post, but we didn't know anything about that there was going to be an archaeological dig there. And so the day we were packing out, we had our backpacks on and we were leaving, a Coast Guard helicopter flew in, and it was quite amazing. And the archaeological dig team disembarked the helicopter and began one of the most important digs in North America. Wow. They made agreements, good agreements with the Makah people, that everything they took out of the earth belonged to the Makah. They were not to take anything away. And to be able to do that, they had to build an amazing museum in the town of Makah, what's now called Makah. It was Nia Bay. So they did. A government agreed to it. And if anyone can go there, it will change your life to see the technology of people from earlier times. There are baskets there that are woven in such a way people still can't figure out how they did it. Is that fantastic?
That is. I've been to that museum, so this is like a really cool thing to hear that, from this other perspective of you being there.
It's so true. It is so amazing. I got to see it before they dug it up. And then they replaced everything, because I've been back, and it looked just like it used to, except they had. And the reason that was what they were able to do was so fantastic, because the mud came so fast, it pushed all the air out. So the biological part of the village life was preserved because the air hadn't destroyed it.
Oh, wow.
And there's a fascinating book called Women's Work, The First 20,000 Years. And do you know that book?
I don't. No, that sounds
fascinating. My gosh, you've got to know this woman. I can't ever remember her name. But anyway, the book is called Women's Work, The First 20,000 Years. And the author of the book is super good academic woman, and documented archaeological digs back 20,000 years, and then wrote this book. And it was all about the things that were getting ignored, and the things that were getting ruined in archaeological digs because people didn't pay them any mind.
Hmm.
And she started to see a whole different history because of what she was seeing in the dig, because she's an archaeologist.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
so anyway, I met her in person one time. She's also a magnificent weaver. And so anyway, I said, that was just fantastic. I think her name Barbara. That 20,000 years, that was really amazing. She says, oh, EagleSong, we're back to 30,000 now. And it speaks to me, this place about the earth. And I've always had this kind of rubbing the wrong way, or a fish going upstream kind of thing with herbalism, and trying to fit into the herbalism world, because I was really more interested in how people and plants and the earth connect.
Hmm.
And now that finally has become kind of a popular idea, which is so much fun to see that we are all starting to pay more attention to, not just a single plant on the ground, but really to start looking up. And I do these wonderful herbal field days here in the Northwest. And after 40 years of looking for places to do field days, I've got a really great collection of places to go that help people realize they live in an ecosystem or a bioregion, and it's determined by water,
Hmm.
land and water. And
Yeah.
those land and water and what people have done before us come along. And so it determines what plants are going to be here.
Hmm.
And then I always want to know, when I had, eventually I got done with that wonderful project, and I never went back to college. That was
Hmm.
my first year. And it was like the ancestors whispered in my ear. They said, EagleSong, you don't have to go back. Come out here, play with us. And I really took it to heart. I really wanted to know more about plants and people through time. Like, what did women do when their kids fell down and broke their arms? Because eventually I have a couple kids. But first I had to do a little stint in commercial fishing, and then I got to go to the Arctic. That was amazing. I spent 6 months in the Arctic, and helping to build the pipeline.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? So here I am doing all these things because I love a life of adventure, but then I have to think about it. And I don't think about it too much because I'm in this amazing ecosystem, and it's very, very cold, and then it's very, very light. And so learning to see all these different places on the world that have plants and that people live, and figure out how to live there the best they can with what they're given, because that's all they have.
Hmm.
And it's really going down under and under and under. That's the part I really love, is to get deeper and deeper and deeper into things. And I'm super curious, and that didn't always bode well for me as a young person. But I've realized now curiosity and wonder are the driving forces in my life. And the real thing is to ask good questions, because those questions will always take us on amazing adventures if we're not afraid to go.
I love that Eagle song. I can just see, like, as you're talking, like this, your interests, or this intersection of, um, you know, the past, archaeology, ethnobotany, and how plants play a role in that, and the intersection with people. I
Yeah,
often talk about this. It's like, I think a lot of people get into quote herbalism because they want to know, like, what will help my arthritic knee.
I know, right?
Like, that which I think is like whatever brings them in, right? Because that's
Yeah,
a great thing,
exactly.
highly motivated in. And then it's like you're saying, it just, then you can go deeper and deeper, and it's not just about the herb that helps your arthritic knee, because in some ways that's almost easy, but it's getting to know your whole ecosystem and
And then,
understanding that
yeah,
interplay.
go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then even for some, not everybody goes this way, but some folks, they start to really get turned on to the ecosystem within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they see a reflection of wholeness and health and holiness in nature, that they then can see something inside themselves that they didn't get to see maybe in the place they live or the place they grew up in. Or it's just that for me the medicine is to be in nature.
Hmm.
And it more and more and more, that's what we're coming to, right?
Yep. Yep. Oh, that's
And
such a beautiful way to put it.
yeah, and the other part I love is that, it's 50 years now. I've been pretty deeply involved in herbalism, but always from the ground up, always curious about the earth. And, I'm an avid composter. I'm way better rodder than I am a grower. I love to watch things decompose.
Hmm.
It's one of my favorite things to do. And right at the moment, our culture is decomposing and it's freaking folks out. Well, rightly so. But what I've learned in it is that always something springs forth from that nourishment as things get sifted down into smaller and smaller parts and get more back into their unique simplicity. It gives fertile ground to grow something new. And I think we're living in an amazingly exciting time. And even the herbs work is changing as people get closer to the earth and closer to our plants. I am seeing some of the most fantastic dialogues on even on Facebook where people are talking, like now that we are learning how to operate the social media things, the people are talking about more deeply about the plants that are in their bioregion that might be the same name as a plant from somebody else's bioregion, but they act differently, or it's like all of a sudden we're in this whole new field of way more articulate discernment about the plants that live by us.
Hmm.
And then having amazing dialogues with each other about those. John used to tease me. He said, EagleSong, I do this all the time. He says it in sign language for babies. You do this, it means more.
More. Yeah.
And that's it. I want more, more, more.
More.
Yeah. And so I've seen this amazing blooming, in essence, of herbs. And some days I'm crazy about how crazy it is out there. But underneath that, there is this amazing thing going on with people. So what I do, what I guess I call it now, excuse me, integrated earth medicine. And there's a new term that's hitting the ground called mother line medicine, which has touched me deeply. I really resonate with that term, mother line medicine. And I don't know, it has a lot to do with Hawthorn. So maybe we should go segue into Hawthorn, because my life story was changed tremendously when I really got close with that tree.
I do want to segue into Hawthorn. I'm super excited about speaking about that. I was wondering just about one more thing because
Yeah.
I know you so much as a gardener. And I'm just curious, like, how that has been a sort of through line in your life. Like, how I know you mentioned your family were gardeners, but when
Uh-huh.
I also come from a family of gardeners, I feel like that's something I just feel so deeply grateful for. But there was
Yeah.
still a moment where I had to like pick it up, like I didn't have like I had to pick it back up again because I was, going to college and all that kind of stuff. And then I had to decide like, oh, actually, I want to get back to my garden.
Uh-huh.
I'm just curious, like, because you have
Yeah.
done it professionally, you've done studied healing therapeutic garden. So I'm just wondering if you would speak a little bit about gardening before we move on to
Oh,
Hawthorn.
I'd love to. Yeah, grew up in a family of gardeners, came from a lineage of garden people. Um, yeah, I didn't realize it, how much people disdain um, farm work and the places that we grow food and things. There's a tremendous disdain for it in some aspects of culture, and I always was thrilled with it. I thought that was the coolest thing you could do, is you could drop a seed
Mhm.
in the ground and something came up really cool, especially if you could eat it. It took me a long time to get into flowers. It's like they were so like, they're not like, why would you grow that? Why would you spend your time? We should be eating. And then of course, then medicinal herbs. But yeah, my job as a kid was to throw the coffee grounds out on the lawn so that it would grow better. And my mom had a subscription to organic gardening. So I would go in the bathroom on Saturday morning to do my job of clean the bathroom and sit there and read the magazine. And so I was indoctrinated early,
Mhm.
and it all made sense. It was so logical. Like I
Mhm.
couldn't even see why people use chemicals when it was so logical to just use the things that were around us.
Yeah. I'm curious,
I've
EagleSong,
learned a
were you
lot about
trying to
that.
not clean the bathroom? Like, were you
Oh
trying
no,
to
I did
avoid
my
cleaning the
job.
bath? Okay.
I did,
Just
but
wondering,
I assured them to do a very good job at cleaning. It would take at least 2
Mhm.
hours. And I got to
I
lock
see, I
myself
see.
in there. Don't mess with me. I'm doing my job.
Mhm.
And so anyway, that was the early start. And then, at 12 years old, I had read My Side of the Mountain, that book.
Mm.
And I asked my parents if I could. Our backyard had a terrace like this. There was rockery and then a little, about 10-foot wide um, ledge and then another rockery. And there was a big fir tree. And I asked if I could build a camp outside and live outside all summer. And I could garden on the ledge. We had a burning barrel on one end, and I had a little outdoor kitchen. And they said yes. My folks were so great about saying yes,
Hmm.
even though my mom yelled a lot, and that was kind of scary. It was, they were always, they didn't want us to grow up and be anything. They just wanted us to be happy. And I really wish they gave us a playbook because it's a hard thing to do sometimes.
Hmm.
And but anyway, I had a good childhood. My folks were supportive. They helped. So gardening took me to even when I fished commercially in Alaska, we had sprouts on the boat. So we were sprout. I wouldn't sprout anymore, but at that time that was in, and so
Mhm.
we were sprouting. And then we lost our fishing license because they changed the way that the fishing world worked, and we didn't. You had to get 21 points to get a license, and we had 20 points, so we just barely missed it.
Hmm.
And licenses that were $147 one year, the next year they were $60,000. So we were pretty much out of fishing and had to find a new livelihood. And I hate it. I hate change. Like, and I said they should let us fish. We don't catch as much
Hmm.
as all those other people. We that fish, if they're really worried about the fish, they should let us do it. But that didn't go over either. So we left there, went to the pipeline, and worked up there, and it really helped me to think about the land and gardens and how people live and their relationship with plants. When I'm in the Arctic, that was fascinating. Then I came down, and because we had now a bunch of money because we worked our 6-month stint, and we bought a farm. And I did a stint at homesteading on a 12-acre farm. That was probably the nicest piece of ground I've ever had a close relationship with. And then we decided we wanted to be around people that we thought were like us. So we sold our place, and we ended up in a community over in the Okanagan, up by you. And so we bought into 500 acres there, and that didn't work out either. And so, but now we have 2 sons, and we bought a 40-acre place, and it was high in the mountains. You know what it's like to garden over there. And so I did the best I could, and I learned a lot. And my uncle and aunt were really supportive of our endeavor and hoped for us the best, but we didn't end up staying there either. So I ended up back on the west side, which I think is the gardener's paradise.
Hmm.
And it's where I was born and raised. So, we don't have to worry about water, and it's just easy to garden here. But my criteria when we bought our first farm was I want a farm that I can grow tomatoes without a greenhouse.
Hmm.
And so then I did that, and then we went through a bunch of stuff, and then I ended up where I am now. I've been here this is my 34th year here. So
Oh,
I've
wow.
really seen the garden change, and all around me. It used to be farms around me. Now it's $1 million houses, and we're like this. What one of our apprentices once said, "Wow, you're just like an emerald in the middle of the desert."
Hmm.
And it was, so I've learned a lot. Oh, and I did a permaculture design certificate thing. I went to Hawaii 1 month after 9/11 when the towers came down. And so let me tell you, traveling that month was pretty spooky.
Yeah.
I saw things I would never believe I would ever see as a person that concerned me. But here we are years down the road, and it sort of appears things aren't getting better. But I don't know. I see so much positive change in the world today that I think it's always both and. It's always happening. It's always increasing and it's always decreasing. It's like that's just the rhythm of it. I like it like more like a sine wave, up and down, up and down.
No, I
So
appreciate
gardens
that.
have really held me through my whole life, and it's something I can do that makes me feel like I am doing something that can make a shift. And really the biggest challenge for me, because I totally love my rototiller. I just really love tractors and rototillers, and I like that big noise and that sound. It's rhythmic. You know, people
Interesting.
are all about being quiet. And I think, are you kidding? A good tractor engine, a good boat, a good fishing boat engine, it's meditating.
Interesting.
I
I
know,
have a
right?
question for you, EagleSong. You've
Great.
been gardening for so many years and now 33 years in this one place. Is there ever a season like it starts to be seed season, it starts to be beginning season, or that you just feel like, you know what? I feel like I'm not as into it this year. I just want to take a break. Have you ever felt that?
Oh,
Never.
I have a really struggle with winter.
Yeah.
Winter's hard for me because I am like, have you read that book, The Light Eaters?
Not yet.
Oh my, you're
On
gonna
my
love
list
it.
though. Yeah.
Well, people photosynthesize too. It helps kick the mitochondria into action to be in sunlight. And I used to get, well, I still do. I have a real dip. I was really thrilled to hear about rhodiola
Hmm.
because in the winter I could just crawl under a rock and
Hmm.
wait for summer. I'm born on the 2nd of February, so Imbolc's my birthday,
Hmm.
and that's when I come alive. It's like, so I've created all kinds of little things to do, and our winter celebration, because of course everybody's trying to figure out how to celebrate the dark time because it's a challenge for many people.
Mhm.
And I just pick and choose a little bit. It's kind of like a buffet. I don't feel like I'm stealing anybody's tradition, but I feel like that a good buffet offers a lot of different things. And I really loved Advent. Like once a week, you got to celebrate something. And so we celebrate the first week of Advent is the mineral kingdom. And then the second week is the plant kingdom, and third week. And so we have a table in our house and we build the world. When I found out the sun went down to New Zealand for a holiday in the middle of winter, I thought, well, by golly, I think we better take care of building the world here up in the north while
Hmm.
she's down there sunning herself. And so that's made me really happy because I feel like I get to take care of my sister's backyard while she's off on vacation. And
It's
it's a
beautiful.
story that works for me. It's not,
Mhm.
obviously everybody's story, but I love it. And then the people come. And so then we've made it all the way to the third week, and it's solstice. Then we have a big celebration for the solstice. And now we still have a long way to go. Oh, great. Now we get to do the 12 days of Christmas.
Mhm.
And so we just start down the 12 days of Christmas and we do an augury. Every day we have one thing inform us as to what that month is going to be like in the coming year, so that it just become this really fun, small, bite-sized way to move through the dark time that works for me.
Hmm.
And my mom had it down. She went to Mexico and walked on the beach. So I'm really working on that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
we
so the
are
gardens are the garden has always held me.
Mhm.
And sometimes I just think of it. We're all born into a garden. Learning how to tend it is the work.
Hmm. That's
Our inner
beautiful.
garden and the garden all around us.
Hmm. Well, earlier you were mentioning the mother line, and how that's a great segue into hawthorn. I'm so excited to hear you speak about hawthorn. It is one of my very favorite herbs, one of my closest allies. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this
It's so
wonderful,
great.
wonderful tree.
I worked also 10 years at a hotel, a really high visibility hotel. They were awarded the 17th best hotel in the world while I worked
Oh,
there.
whoa.
I know, right? I don't know who does the calculations,
Mhm.
but anyway, they got that award. And the Herb Farm restaurant, which is a world-renowned restaurant, I've had a long affiliation with them as a field manager for them years and years ago. And when they ended up partnering with this hotel to put their restaurant there, they had a 3,000 square foot garden, and they needed a gardener. They posted, they were looking for a gardener, and so they also had a 3-acre farm. Well, it was an acre and a half at that time, and there was a 5-acre hotel grounds of not perennial, horticulture plants, like trees from all over the world. It was $1 million landscape.
Wow.
And for some reason, like a child of 5, if someone said to a 5-year-old, "Do you want to go on a 100-mile hike?" They all go, yeah, let's go. And I said, I can do that. Like, right? I didn't know how to do any of that. I knew about herbs. I knew about farming and gardening at high altitudes and in cold climates, and also on the coast. But I didn't really know anything about horticulture. But because I already had a relationship with the people, they gave me a chance. They said, "Okay, come on, you can do it." And so I thought I'd be there 3 years, and I ended up 10 years. But it gave me this huge, broad understanding of other ways of gardening, other ways of farming. What does it mean, farm to table? Because the restaurant is like one of the first farm to table restaurants in the United States. And so I just had a tremendous amount of opportunity to super broaden my scope in relationships to plants, people, and the earth. And so because I had that fantastic job, I also had the resources to go to England 3 times. Wow. And my the motherline thing is like, I really wanted to know where my people came from. So it hits us at a certain age. It seems to hit women especially. They really want to know where they came from. And I think that's the motherline quickening and helping us get reconnected with things that we might have forgotten or whatever. And it gives us a lot of information. So I scheduled a trip to go to England to live or to spend time in the village where my grandmother was born. And so it turned out it's a small village, like 600 people, Hawthorn, England. And there happened to be what it was, Anglican retreat center. I was in the midst of my therapeutic healing and therapeutic garden design course. And the 3rd trimester, we had to do our own independent project. And so I just basically turned in a thing that said, I'm going to England. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know it's going to solve my assignment for this course. And I ended up at Holland House, the Anglican Retreat Center in Cropthorne, the village where my grandmother was born. And the retreat center and the house where my grandma was born touched their fence line touched. So it was like really going home. And parts of the Holland House were really old, really, really old. And it was a 4-acre retreat center on River Avon. So it was like, and so the first time I went, I said, I'm only going to walk and I'm going to go out in expanding circles, 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles. And that's all I'm going to see, because I really want to know what it was like when my grandmother lived there. She left at about 13, maybe 12, 13, 14, right in there. And her father took her to Canada. And my mom was born in Canada. So it's like learning where your people's campfires were as they moved across different parts of the world. And then trying to understand the trajectory. My first question was, why do people leave? I love England. I could live there in a heartbeat. It's just like going home. I love the people. I fit right in, and it's like a stone's throw from Wales. And both my grandparents were Davies and Evans. They're about as Welsh names as you can get, although we can't find anything that takes us back to Wales. But I still believe we are Welsh because I'm short and I like to talk. Isn't that Welsh? And I really love poetry. So there, I'm sure of it. anyway, so then I went in the walking, because in England you can walk everywhere. You know, there just aren't, you can walk through farmers' fields and through the village and over the hills. And I was alone. So I just really had an opportunity to be with the land and be with myself, and really ask questions of my grandmother. She had a little jacket that she wore when she came to America. And remember, this was like in probably 1904 or something. And she was very, very petite, very small woman. And her little velveteen jacket that had like carved flower designs in it, chocolate brown. I took it back with me, and I'd bring it out and I'd hold it up and say, well, what was it like when you lived here, Grandma? And so I really had this deep connection. And all the plants in my herbal repertoire are in the hedges of England. And it was like, of course I know these things, because it's in the blood. And it really brought it alive for me. It really helped me get it. You don't have to know a million different plants. You just have to do, 10 plants 100 ways. And really start to believe and trust in less could be better. But I'm not thinking about better. It's just a different way. It's a different approach. And so I just totally loved having that come alive for me by going to England. And then I went to France. And again, it was the same thing. It was, and by the time I got to France, I was way into Hawthorn, because when I left the hotel and the herb farm restaurant, I was pretty fried. It was a big undertaking, and I really, it would be like the 5-year-old who walked 100 miles. At the end of it, they'd be pretty tired. And so I was super tired. And I was trying to get my footing. I was trying to figure out, how do I get back into the world of herbs? So I was doing herb walks, because that's where we all start, right?
Yep.
And so I started over. And I'm on a walk that I've done hundreds of times. And I'm standing in front of a hawthorn tree. And this woman says to me, oh, but what's it good for? And honestly, I had just had it with that question. I said, I don't know. What are you good for? Oh, no. I felt this tap on the back of my shoulder. And I turned around to Hawthorn and said, EagleSong. That's not her question. That's your question. Let's go walk about. And so Hawthorn guided me. She took me under her wing. She really wanted me to meet her kin. She wanted me to see how big the world is, and how all her family is spread out all around the northern hemisphere. And so I was like totally out of the box. People always say, the first thing they say to me, oh yeah, Hawthorn, I've heard it's good for a broken heart. Well, it is, no doubt about it. But what Hawthorn taught me is that if you're good and at number one, making agreements, and if you're strong, then your heart will break less. You will have less broken hearts to get over, and more courage, because what's the root word of courage? Cor. And that is
heart.
Yes. And put those two together. Rage. Like, we don't ever embrace our rage to the place where we can really spark the fire of creation. And I think we are at the point now where Hawthorn has assured me she's willing to help. She's willing to come into our lives on a really everyday basis to give us the strength of heart that we need to go through this birthing, if you will, of whatever it is that we're being born into right now. And none of us know. Oh my God, it's the hardest thing of all to not know, right? So I have a little course I like to do called From Not Knowing, N-O-T, to Not Knowing, K-N-O-T. Once you get everything all back into place and woven together again, like it would be in a Celtic knot, you again realize you're part of everything and it's always changing.
Mm.
And so Hawthorn helped me to see that. And then, people say, oh, there's 100 or 200 species of hawthorn. And you know what? On the plantlist.org, which has actually been changed to something else now, there's over 2,700 species of hawthorn that have been added to that list.
Wow.
I know, right? It's actually, I used to say it blows my mind, but now I say it expands my mind. I was teaching in Colorado, and I said to people at this one place I was doing some classes that I intended to blow their mind around hawthorn. And actually, it was the coolest place. I was surrounded by hawthorn trees and cottonwood trees. It was the nicest little grove.
Mm.
And yet in the middle of the class, the wind came up. It came up fierce. And we had to all grab our things and run to the barn because cottonwoods love to throw their limbs down if it's windy. So we all had to get out of there. And on that site, I actually discovered a hawthorn that had thorns that were 3 inches long. And as I'm walking the site with the owner to kind of get my bearings, I said, excuse me, because I saw this tree blooming across the way. I said, excuse me, I have to go see that tree. I'll be right back. It's kind of like, you can come if you want, but I got to the tree and nothing about it said hawthorn except it had those long thorns. And so I was totally baffled. And so I immediately did, when I got back to my room, I checked in with the internet and I asked Google, like what's going on? What is this plant? And it turns out it's an endemic hawthorn to this very small area in Colorado, and it's called willow-leaved hawthorn, and the leaves look just like willows.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also ended up in Manitoulin Island in Lake Huron, and that island, the people who are born on the island are called haw eaters. But it doesn't matter how long your family's been on that island if you're a native person, because it's a really important island to the native people. If your mom decides to go off island to have you as a baby to be born, you do not get to claim the haw eater name.
Wow.
But if your people just moved there last week and you're born on the island, you get to be a haw eater. And I went there for 2 things. I went there to study, well, I'm going to use the word, but it isn't anything like you might think. I spent a good deal of time studying clowning, because there's a place for clowns in the world, and we certainly need more of them today. And so I ended up there because it was a place called Clown Farm. Those 2 things were together, 2 words. And the island had an endemic hawthorn. So I had, 2 things. In a good permaculture way, we have to have 3 stacked functions, or otherwise we probably can't do that thing. So I went, and it turned out there were 9 different hawthorns on that island. It's 100 miles long. It's a big island.
Wow.
And there is one that only grows there. And so it was really fun. Of course, where do you go if you want to find out about hawthorns in a new place? You go to the farmer's market. There's where the people who know what's going on in the neighborhood in the way of plants. And I met the most wonderful woman there who was weaving and spinning. She had sheep, and she had she was so kind. She just drew me a little map and said, "Here, this is where you need to go to get them." I couldn't get any at the time because it was summer, but I did want to see them. And so the generosity of telling somebody your secret place, even though it was off season and I was from really far away, was very good. That was a kindness and a generosity I really appreciated.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear some more about how you like to work with hawthorn. I know you have a recipe for us, but you've mentioned, a hawthorn. I loved how you kind of reframed it in terms of broken heart and how it can help strengthen us. Yeah. I'd love to hear more EagleSong wisdom about hawthorn.
All right. So I've been harvesting a hawthorn hedge for the last 30 years. It's 10 miles from my house. It turns out the Snoqualmie Valley where I live after being so many places and seeing hawthorns around the world, I've realized that the Snoqualmie Valley is a repository for hawthorns. There's so many different varieties, species. There's just a lot of different haws here. And so this hedge, I call it a broken hedge because a lot of trees are missing. It's sort of like teeth in old people that don't have dentures. Their teeth are missing. That's how the hedge is. And there is one, the best I can figure, and after talking with the farmer, and he can't really remember, because he thinks it's probably 50 or 75 years, the hedge that has been there. And so I go there every year. That's where I get all the hawthorn that I actually make things with, because there's just so much. There's such an abundance there. And never in 30 years have I seen a year where there wasn't an abundance. Wow. The trees drip fruit. And this one tree, which I have named the Golden Girl, because her leaves turn gold in the fall. And I've called people up to have them come out, famous botanists, famous tree people, to tell them that these trees exist. And they just shine me off like saying, I have a brand new dandelion in my field. Do you want to come and see it? And they go, nope, don't have time. And so the Golden Girl, and honestly, she is prolific to almost a fault by the amount of fruit she puts out every year. And her fruit is black. And the leaves look like oak leaves, but she doesn't do anything like she's supposed to if she's a hawthorn. She blooms really late. Like I thought at first, maybe it was a Douglasii, the native hawthorn here, that has black fruit.
I was just wondering, yeah.
Yeah, but the leaf's not right. The leaf is more like an oak leaf. And the leaves turn really golden in the fall, which is why I chose Golden Girl as the name. I probably should have chose Golden Woman or something more mature, but Golden Girl is because she's the one who would go out into nature and say, I don't know, I'm not supposed to make 1 million fruits every year. She just does it. And so she's vital. She's got a lot of vitality. That's it. And she doesn't do anything at the right time. So I know that this is a different species of haw. She doesn't fit into any box whatsoever. And the fruit is juicy and it's got more flesh to it. So that's what our Oxymel's made out of. That's the only fruit that goes into our Oxymel, Golden Girl. And so I am cutting cyanwood next week to send off to Burnt Ridge Nursery so that they can keep grafting it, and then they sell it at the nursery, but they run out all the time because we just can't keep up with the desire that people have for this fruit. And so anyway, I think of hawthorns now really from an economic place as well, not just from a healing place in what can it do for us as people because we don't feel good or we have a broken heart, but also how can this plant, who is a keystone species in the Western United States, and a keystone species is a plant that creates habitat for more than themselves. And so she is a generative tree. All of the hawthorns that I've met serve really amazing places in the environments where they are. And the Crataegus douglasii especially, because she makes thickets. In England, I didn't see thickets. We saw hedges and like that, but I never saw a hawthorn thicket. They could be there, I just never saw them. But here, our native hawthorns are inclined to thicket. And then they create all kinds of habitat for like Brer Rabbit, where the small mammals and the birds and the insects actually can go in and find respite. And when she's blooming, there are hundreds of different kinds of pollinators. It's not, honeybees come in big, lots of them, but there's moths and different kinds of wasps and flies. And I have laid under hawthorns. She demanded I lay down. I said, no, I must work. I have to pick. She says, lay down. See, this is when you apprentice yourself to a plant. You don't get to show up when you feel like it. You have to show up when whatever's happening is happening if you're going to engage. Yeah. And so when she told me to lay down and I told her no, it was like, get that way, don't even come back. And it was like, okay, I'll lay down. But the whole sky was abuzz. It was
Mm.
alive. It was like electricity. That's motherline medicine.
Mm.
That's what Hawthorn brings us. She brings us the vitality. I have two cats swatting at each other here. I don't know if you can hear them. But anyway, that's the part that I got after 30 years of deep connection with this broken hedge. And I've gotten to know the farmer. And you know, he's got his own story. And he didn't like me coming there at first. He really grilled me about what was I doing there? Was I stealing his hawthorns? And it was so great. It was like, well, I never thought about it like that, but I could see how you might. He says, I don't have trouble with my heart, and I've never had them. I've never eaten them. And all I could think of was, you know, you might try it. And that was in the beginning, but over the years, we become quite friends. And I bring sandwiches and we hang out. Sometimes he'll come out with his tractor and mow because he wants it to be easy for me to get to the trees. You see,
Oh,
so
nice.
over time, and again, this is Haw medicine. It's what I call social medicine.
Mm.
It's the medicine that really helps us connect with people who are really different than us.
Mm.
But we find some place in the bigness of heart that Hawthorn gives us to set that aside so we can see something else, like the bigness of their heart and where they're coming from and what they're doing. And so she's taken me a lot of places that I would have never gone on my own.
Mm.
She took me to Mexico, where the grandmothers treated me when I was feeling pretty crummy, like could have had COVID. And what did they bring me? Hawthorn ponche, Mexican
really?
hawthorn brewed
Wow.
into a punch, and chicken soup.
Hmm.
And it was like, that's my insurance wherever I go. I meet grandmas that totally want to tell me about their place and what they're doing. And it's so fun. It's so fun to be alive in a world that is full of life and death.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway.
Hawthorn has an interesting relationship too, just folklore with death, and um, so it's all encompassed in the
Oh,
Hawthorn tree
totally.
as
And the
well.
one I love is don't fall asleep under the lone hawthorn in the open meadow, because the
Hmm.
fae will take you.
They'll take you.
And
Yeah.
honestly, for 5 years after I barked at that woman, I was in the keeping of the fae. They wouldn't let me go until they were sure that I
Hmm.
could speak well
Hmm.
and speak well of
Hmm.
them
Yeah. What a
and
lesson.
yeah, speak well of them to people who might not be able to see them quite the same way. So it's true. Don't fall asleep
Hmm.
under a hawthorn tree unless you want your whole world to change.
So right, right. For the Hawthorn Oxymel EagleSong,
Hi.
you've shared this wonderful recipe with us, and listeners can download the illustrated version of it in the show notes or at herbswithrosalieepodcast.com.
Great.
I think the Hawthorn Oxymel is probably the most common way that I also work with Hawthorn. I love it. It's just
Hmm.
such a wonderful, delicious, and as we have the Crataegus douglasii here, as you have mentioned, it has those
Right.
dark purple blackberries, and so it makes beautiful medicine. I don't know that
Yes.
Hawthorn never makes beautiful medicine. It always makes beautiful medicine, but
It's see, this
those
is where
berries
it's
are
going to
just
get
something
interesting
special.
for us because we're going to be able to compare notes.
Mhm.
Once we get over thinking this is the right one, we
Right,
can
right.
start saying, "Wow, what's happening with yours?" And
Mhm. Yeah, there is I love that you talked about going to England and France because I also fell in love with Hawthorn in Ireland and France.
uh-huh.
And then but it's my local Hawthorn, the, douglasii that I have the closest connection with because I make medicine with it every year and,
Right.
harvest every year. I mean, it's my most consistent plant, probably that and nettles, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, so the Hawthorn Oxymel, I'm curious, how you make it every year. How do you like to use it once you've made it? How do you like to share it? How do you like to enjoy it?
Oh, we're having a magnificent sunset. The sky is on fire with pink and blue. I just look out the window.
Mhm.
I like to, people want to know what's the dose.
Mm,
And getting our mind out of thinking in that way is really a challenge. I
mm.
said, I don't know. What's the dose of apples? Oh, it's an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? And that's what I say. The dose of Hawthorn is 3 to 5 times a week from 1 to 101.
Nice.
Especially if it lives by you, because you'll have access and you can make different things to keep it interesting, because who wants to take the same thing all the time? So we do the Oxymel, and my recipe is simple. It's equal parts of honey, vinegar, and fruit. So if it's a pound as your part, then it's a pound, a pound, a pound. I put my Hawthorn, when I harvest, I put it in, I freeze it. I freeze it fresh, and then use fresh frozen Hawthorn to make the Oxymel, because it breaks the cell walls when you freeze it. And so we get more goodness out with less cooking. And so I do it in 4 pounds, because 4 pounds of Hawthorn fit in a gallon bag, and those stack in my freezer really nicely.
I love
and
this.
so it's very practical.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And I'm of the age now where I like to have things be kind of systematic, because then I can rely on, well, it's easy if it's 1-1-1. You learn the ratio of different things, and you cook. Like I like to say, if you want to come and work with us, it's the place where you learn to cook without a book, because you learn to figure out ratios and how things work together with other things, and then that's what it does. And so we use an old-fashioned European jam recipe. We bring the fruit up to almost the boil, but not quite, and then turn it off and let it sit. My son asked me once how I made it, because he wanted to make it for his family. And I'm telling him, I bring the heat up, turn it off, and then let it sit overnight. Next morning, bring the heat up, then turn it off and let it sit again. And he goes, oh, that's exactly how I do stuff here, because he takes care of the kids at his house 3 or 4 days a week. His wife's a teacher, and so they share childcare. And so he says, I always have to go do something with the kids. And I said, well, that's how come this is an old-fashioned European recipe, because that's how women have to live with their children. And so it was really fun. But then we do that 2 or 3 times, and then you never boil it, because if you take the temperature up past 220, you're going to cause the pectin to it's like little threads that run through the plant, and it's going to cause them to activate. And if you want jam, that's great. But if you want a syrup that comes out of the bottle, it's not great. It took me years to figure that out. And so don't let it boil, just get it up, let it simmer, or not simmer, just turn it off and let it steep. And now we're doing like a nourishing herbal infusion. We're actually taking that heat and time to get the goodness out of that plant, out of those fruits. Do that twice. And then strain it, but don't press it. It took me years to stop that too, because I wanted to get every good little bit out of it. And then I realized I'm just pressing out more pectin, and you can't get the syrup out of the bottle if it's solid. Because it's just like cranberry sauce. And so I stopped pressing it. I just let everything come out on its own accord. Hang it up in the kitchen if you want. And be patient. Just let it drip out. Let gravity work. This is the slow method, and it's allowing nature to work. You know, it's like you can take a deep breath, and remember, gardening is the slowest performing art. And so we're letting this take time, and then I strain it, and then I add an equal weight of honey. So if it's a pound, 2 pounds, 4 pounds of fruit, and vinegar. It's actually simmering in the vinegar. I don't use, it's not what I don't do, it's what I do that counts, right? I use regular grocery store vinegar. It's like now up to $6 or so a gallon. I do not use raw vinegar. I make it, I enjoy it, but I don't use it when I'm making the Oxymel, because I don't want it to grow some mothers. As much as I love mothers, I don't want them in my Oxymel. So I always use pasteurized vinegar, and it's accessible to anybody. It's, every grocery store has it. So I want the things that I'm teaching people to do to be accessible to people. We're not trying to make the best or the most powerful. we're trying to work with the plants and the elements and our environment in such a way that anybody can do this. And so that's an important part for me. I want people to be able to, you can play and do all the other stuff you want to do. I think that's fine. But the whole idea of this is the best and that's the most powerful, I think we're going to find, and we are finding, that sometimes the least obviously powerful actually has the strongest effect. And so we're getting a little bit less intense about everything and backing off. And I think Hawthorn helped me a lot with that. It's like, cool it, girl. Let's just enjoy life here. And you don't have to rototill anymore either. You can go dig your garden. It's so easy. And at 70, almost 74, it's really exciting to be able to see a garden happen with not all that intense energy I did as a young woman. As much as I love the sound of rototillers and tractors, I rather like going out there and just popping seeds in and harvesting. It works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so then once you get all three things together, you bottle it and then to cap it. And, I've had it around for several years and I've never had any go off. It's been very stable. And I'm using the Golden Girl only. So I don't use other hawthorns to make the Oxymel. But it's still you would still do it the same. You'd want to use, I still would encourage people to freeze the fruit and then use fresh frozen fruit to make your Oxymel. Usually because there's so much going on in the fall that if you could just put one thing off till the middle of winter, right now is when I start making my Oxymel. I have time.
Yeah.
And so we'll begin Oxymel making here real soon.
And how do you, once the Oxymel is all made, how do you enjoy it?
Oh, thank you. That's a really good part. Then how do you use it? I use it with salad dressing is my favorite way. And also we have a really excellent radicchio grower right down the road from us. And she is dynamite. And she goes to Italy and gets the seed. Like these people are dedicated. And so I get the most glorious radicchio. And we make salads all winter of radicchio and parsley. That's it. And then I dress it with the Oxymel, like 1/4, then 3/4. You can do it 1/3 or 1/4. You decide what you want. And then the rest up, let's just say 1/3. Just give you it easy. 1/3 Oxymel, 2/3 olive oil. This is where to use your good olive oil. Good, the virgin kind. And then as much salt as you like and a bit of mustard. I like the coarse kind with the seeds in it. And the mustard is the emulsifier. It holds it all together. See, cooking and herbs are really similar. Once you understand how things work together, then you can create medicine and dinner and all kinds of things. And then that's what we use to dress our radicchio salad. And I've actually stopped eating green salad in the summertime. I don't care for lettuce anymore. The old herb book said, if you fed lettuce to children, it would make them dull.
Interesting.
It's like soporific. It wants to put you to sleep.
Interesting. Yeah. It's true of lettuce.
So that's it. Salad dressing in hot water as a hot toddy in the winter, in ice water with a twist of orange in the summer. It goes really nice with orange. Sometimes I'll sweeten it with orange marmalade made with orange peel and honey that goes in as part of the salad dressing. And I know people who like it on ice cream. And but mostly the way I use it is on salad dressing because we eat radicchio salad almost probably 4 or 5 nights out of 7 in the winter. And that's where I get my bitter. It's very, I do actually have a little cup of coffee once a day, but I do enjoy eating the bitters. I'm not so big on taking them as a tincture. I've cut tinctures way back in my life.
Yeah,
which I hear a lot of people are, right? And water's the universal menstruum, but that's a whole nother course.
It is. Well, speaking of other courses, I know you love Hawthorn so much that you host the Hardy Hawthorn Adventure. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, the Hardy Hawthorn Adventure is a class, and we're actually linking the class with our Herbwise Woman online community, so people can take if they sign up for a year for the online community, then we call it the Heart of Hawthorn class is there. And then I do Hawthorn field days where people, and only 10 people can come, but it's where you can come with me to the broken hedge. And you get to go home with a year's supply. You get to learn all about Hawthorn in the hedge from her. And I'm just the translator, so to speak. And then you harvest and you get to take home the hawthorn for a year's supply of flowers and leaves in the spring and fruit in the fall. And there's several different kinds of hawthorn in that hedge. And so it's a really great place to get a nice introduction to hands-on hawthorn work. We make medicine right there in the field and food, and it's a super fun day. Those are my great adventures now, but we're working on having one that is a 3-part series over the course of 3 weeks, probably. I did it once before, and we want to do it again. So I would love to have a Hawthorn conference, because I think that there's so many different ones that it would just be a blast to bring people together who want to talk about it. And we're over the part of fighting about what's the right one, because now we realize there's so many, so many. And
I'm so curious about the golden girl, that it's juicy, like our Douglasia here is it's delicious, but it's mealy, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no other ones. Well, Chinese and Mexican are actually the real fruits. They're not like our North American ones that are kind of little. They call them berries because they're like berries, but technically they're not a berry. She keeps saying, why don't you get them to call me a fruit? Everyone wants to call me a berry, but I'm really a fruit. But the Mexican ones, and I've not been to China, but I did go to Mexico. They're like a small crab apple.
Oh, wow.
And they, because this is my theory about it, and I haven't seen this anywhere, but those two cultures have been working with hawthorns way, way longer than we have in North America from a gardening kind of a perspective, selecting and breeding and improving. And I think that they have increased the size of the fruit over time because it's such an important part of their diet. They don't, in China, they think of it as a digestive aid. And in Mexico, it's a fiesta punch for winter. Ponche, everybody has ponche, and nobody makes it in a little kettle. They make it in great big kettles.
Yeah.
And they drink it. And, depends on what age you are, but they drink it with a lot of tequila. And it's quite a fun, if you want to know how to party, make friends with Mexican people, because they have really got the heart for it. My Mexican friends have
spent quite a lot of time down there.
Yeah, they've helped me a lot learn what it means to be hospitable. I had no idea. If you have time for one last story, it's not about hawthorn. It's about goats.
Absolutely.
All right. So I had goats for a long time. I still have a couple goats, but every year we had baby goats because we wanted the milk. And so then we had baby goats. So we had to find either a home for, or they had to go to people who would eat them. We had our freezer full of goat to the point where now we had to find other people who wanted to eat it. And there was a man downtown who had a little tienda, a Mexican man, and he always needed a goat for some fiesta of some sort. Either he had a grandchild who was going to turn 1 year old, or a granddaughter who was going to turn 15 years old. These are times when they party big. And somebody gets married, somebody dies. These are the times you eat the goat. So he would come and ask me if I had one available, if something was happening. And one time he came and he brought a friend of his who was an incredible, I don't like the word butcher, but the man was excellent at giving death. And so he had a goat and like 2 chickens and a duck done in 15 minutes. And not a sound, no pain, no suffering whatsoever. And so I thought that's the way it needs to be done. It can be done in a way that doesn't hurt the animal. And then I took the money from Alberto and gave him the goat. And then he had the man who did the giving death. He cut the hind quarter off of the goat, and Alberto gave it back to me. He paid fully for the goat. Then he gave me back the best piece of the goat, and then invited me to the party.
No.
So that was like this mind expansion on what does it mean to be hospitable in a different way than I had ever seen. And so anyway, it's about feeding the people for me. It's about helping, not just feeding people, but helping them know how they can take care of themselves, feed themselves, and stay earth-centered in the work.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put that.
Yeah, so that's how it is. So there's that, our online community for women, herbwisewoman.com, and then on my EagleSong-gardener.com, you can see my schedule for the classes. It'll be going, it's not quite, well, it's January. It'll be up by the time this plays. And so, and you can always go because it doesn't change much, just the dates change.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the idea,
we'll put all of those links in the show notes so people can find them really easily.
But the integrated earth medicine and motherline medicine is really the approach we use when we teach here at Ravencroft Garden.
Yeah. Well, before you go, EagleSong, I have one last question for you.
Oh, great.
And I'm excited to hear your answer. The question is, what new things or new skills are you currently cultivating with herbs?
Wow, that is great. I love it. I'm pretty excited to get into the wood this year. I'm going to get I've been slicing things off, and I've made little amulet pouches that people can sew and put together. And but I want to take the wood burner and actually make a set of runes with a wood burner on the discs of hawthorn. So that's that's like a pet project. But I have this other project because the hawthorn, when I went 10,000 miles around the United States, the Western United States, I ran into 3 different hawthorns that were very singularly interesting to me. And they basically reached out and said, we want you to tell our story. So there's a mother tree, a maiden tree, and a crone tree. And I'm 2 years since I went on that trip, and I've been working with those things that I brought home tincture of all those trees, and I've really been working with it. And finally, I believe we've come up with a new kind of medicine. It's like flower essence medicine, but we're not making all calendulas the same. She's asked me to actually introduce these separate trees as the mother, the maiden, and the crone. So it's a powerful medicine. She and I are still working it out, but I'm really excited to figure that one out and bring it to the world. So.
Well, you've dedicated so much in this apprenticeship with hawthorn, and I love that you're offering courses specifically about hawthorn. And yeah, what a wonderful opportunity, to hear about hawthorn through your interpretation. So
Exactly,
thank you for that.
totally.
Yeah.
That's all I am, an interpreter, and interpreting in a certain language, and that there's so many of us, and we all speak different languages. So when we finally get it together that we can talk to each other, it's so exciting.
Well put. Well, thank you so much, EagleSong, for being here, for sharing your life story and your interactions with hawthorn. I just really appreciate it. I feel like there was just so many pearls of wisdom that you just kind of dropped here and there that I feel like I need to watch this all over again, just to really let it all sink in.
Yeah,
So
it'll
thank
be
you so
fun.
much.
I'll look forward to it myself. And I really thank you, Rosalee. It's been really fun to watch you hit the ground running, and you slid in on the digital wave, and you've done an incredible job bringing people together, bringing really straightforward information to people so that they can make choices and decisions in their own lives. And I think that I'm a fan from way back on the way edge. But I really appreciate what you have done, what you are doing for the herbal community.
Oh, thank you so much for that reflection, EagleSong. It means a lot
You,
coming from you. Yeah, thank
you
you.
are so welcome. All right. I see it's turned dark.
It has. Yeah, I'm going to watch the moon rise here pretty quickly. It's
Oh,
the
yeah,
full
it's a
moon
full moon
tonight.
tonight. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
All
thanks
right. You take
again.
care.
You too. Bye-bye. As always, thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosalieepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card. There, you'll also be able to sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. You can find more about EagleSong at her website, www.eaglesong-gardener.com. If you'd like more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Emily Thomas Anderson is the project manager who oversees the entire podcast operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes and on and on. I often tell people, I just show up. Emily does most of the heavy lifting. Nicole Paul is the operator for the entire Herbs with Rosalee school and community. She keeps an eagle eye view on everything to ensure it's running smoothly. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusakova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them, and I know you love them. Once the illustration is ready, Jenny creates the recipe cards as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Alex is our behind-the-scenes tech support and social media manager, and Karen and Emily are our student services coordinators and community support. If you've written in with a question, undoubtedly you got help from them. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. Thank you so much for your support through your comments, reviews, and ratings. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Hawthorn, the hedges, and nature connection. Okay, you've lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. I love to visit Ireland. It's a place just that I hold so deep in my heart. And by far, my favorite thing to do there is simply to walk along the hedges. In the lush landscapes of Ireland and the UK, hawthorn hedges have long served as these natural boundary markers, dating back to medieval times when they enclosed fields and protected crops. Beyond their practical use, these thorny hedgerows are steeped in folklore. For example, hawthorn is often called the fairy tree, and it was believed to be a gateway to the other world. And it was considered bad luck to cut one down. These living fences are rich ecosystems, which is why I love to walk up and down them. There's so much to see. They provide shelter for birds and bees and many small mammals. And then they also intertwine with all of these wonderful plants like wild roses and nettles and blackberries and elder. If you have the chance to walk along a hawthorn hedge or simply to spend time with the tree, I highly recommend it. Maybe you'll take EagleSong's advice, lay on the ground, and watch all those pollinators buzz above you. First up is the Herbs with Rosalee Student Spotlight. Each week we take a moment to celebrate one of our amazing students and their inspiring contributions to our herbal community. This week we're shining our spotlight on Alexandra Hunger-Buehler in New York. She was a student in our 2024 Rooted Medicine Circle, and for her capstone project, Alexandra created this stunning zine highlighting individuals engaged in environmental stewardship and earth healing. Through interviews and photography, she captured the wisdom, passion, and dedication of those working to restore our connection with the natural world. One of the most powerful takeaways from her project is the reminder that change happens in community, that plants, people, and ecosystems thrive when we recognize our interdependence. Alexandra's work is a beautiful reflection of Rooted Medicine Circle's core ideals, weaving together awareness, reciprocity, and care for both the earth and each other. Well done, Alexandra. In appreciation for her contributions, Mountain Rose Herbs is sending her a $50 gift certificate to stock up on their incredible selection of sustainably sourced herbal supplies. Mountain Rose Herbs is my go-to for high-quality organic spices, herbal remedies, and even hard-to-find botanicals. They ship all over the U.S. and have a massive selection of products to fuel your herbal adventures. Thank you to Mountain Rose Herbs for supporting our amazing students. Oh. Sorry, Francesca, that was not right. Thank you to Mountain Rose Herbs for supporting our amazing students. And if you'd like to explore Mountain Rose Herbs offerings and support this show, you can find the special link in the show notes.